Alright, let's go look at this. Do we have an image? It looks like it's live. Yeah, it looks like it works. Alright, so this is a mission I made a few years ago, I think. But one of the main things about it is that it's an F-16 strike in like really bad weather, like a thunderstorm. So I'll be flying through clouds, won't have very good visibility. But I've armed my plane with some CBU-105s, which I can actually drop on the waypoint where my targets are. And so I'll take off from Kobuleti, fly to waypoint 1 over here. The target that I'm going to hit, I believe, is the one located here. It's a group of artillery vehicles and their support trucks and things like that. So since the artillery vehicles are armored vehicles, probably the CBU-105 with the intelligent munitions should take care of that. And then I have my egress around Kutaisi here, and then I'll fly back to base. And there could be some enemy air-to-air. They have like an air base there, so we'll see what happens with all that. But yeah, I have to avoid in the center of my flight plan here. There's an SA-8. So, you know, when it's bad weather, you just want to make sure that you don't run into the bad things because you can't see it coming. So you have to rely on instruments and everything. So let's go have a go at it, and hopefully we have like a fun mission with this. As I wrote in the description, I felt like doing a difficult flight with another plane that I know a little bit better after yesterday's bombing practice with the Mosquito, which I still don't know very well. I didn't feel like I did very well with that plane, but in an F-16 you can put me in bad weather and I can still hit targets, so hopefully I can do that again. So the briefing doesn't necessarily fit everything, but I think we have pictures, and that probably is the group that I was talking about, the artillery vehicles that I'm going to hit with their support trucks. There's a little bit of infantry, but as you'll see once we get in, it's really bad weather, so we won't see much of these as we strike them. So I'm going to take plane 831, which is the plane of my element lead, and we'll see how that goes. So there we are. Oh, I think I forgot my track IR, so let me just get that done. There we go. Go back to this. Use that little trick there. Make sure that this is working. Yes. And then just make sure that this is still running. I think it is. Alright, so now we're back in cockpit. So I started with adjusting my HUD. I'm gonna turn on my helmet mounted display here. There we go. And so let's check some of our systems. I like to put the lights on steady. Turn on the lights for here. I have a ECM pod. If we look at the plane, this is what it looks like. I've got the 2 big fuel tanks. I've got a FLIR, which I probably won't use much of because I won't be able to see anything. I've got my CBU-105s, some AMRAAMs, sidewinders. That's what it looks like. But yeah, since we do have the ECM, I want to turn these things on. I'm going to get this thing going. I usually check if I'm really on program 1 here, manual mode. I can test my ECM just to see if it works. Yes, it seems to work. Got the little light there to work. Mr. Arm is already on. Gonna power on the bombs. That's pretty much all we need to do for this, really. Yeah. And maybe for air-to-air, I kind of like to have my sidewinders in bore mode. That way I can look at a target and hit it like that. And we'll power up the flare, even though we might not even use it at all during the mission. And usually last thing I do before I roll is turn on the nose wheel steering here, and we're good to go. So everything looks clear. Feet on the pedals. Let's taxi to the runway. This is one of the things I'll be curious when I watch the video of the live afterwards. I know sometimes some of the details get lost in when we transmit like video live. Some of the things get blurred, but it's pretty cool to see those drops of water on the window and hearing the sounds for them. So I hope you get at least an indication of that on the YouTube video. As I said, I won't know until I'm finished, so I guess I'll go check afterwards. But it's really nice to see the water, and you just like lightning strikes nearby. This is part of the cool atmosphere we can get with these types of missions. And lots of clouds everywhere, so I guess we'll just get ready to take off, because nobody else wants to fly on days like that. Alright, Springfield flight running up now. Airborne gears up. And we're going to be checking left for steer point 1, range 28 miles. And we're going to try to climb above the cloud layer here. So soon we're not going to see much. We're going to be totally blind. So that's where you have to rely on your instruments. So I can get out of air-to-air mode. We do have like some situational awareness with this here, and in the HUD we can know where we're going. We've got our waypoint in front of us. We've got plenty of fuel with 11,100. Let's call the AWACS.
Overlord 1-1, Springfield 3-1, request bogey dope. Springfield 3-1, Overlord 1-1, clean.
So we've got a clean picture for now, so that's good. Do we see anything around us? Not really. And since we're not flying formation, we're gonna turn the lights off. There we go. And now we're coming up above the cloud layer, and we can see the moon over there. It's us flying by. This is my plane. So apart from the mountaintops in the distance, there's not much to be seen around here, except some white clouds. So I know that in the target area there might be some AAA, so that's why we're climbing. We'll probably go up to, I don't know, something like 18,000 feet. Usually at that height, AAA won't hurt us. Not that they're going to be able to see us, but if they've got Shilkas have radars, so they could technically try to get something on us. Give it a bit more power so that we can climb high here. We're almost at 17,000. And we're gonna level off at Angels 18, and we're pretty much at our waypoint 1. So let's switch to steer point 2. Gonna give it power since I do have a lot of gas left. So I have a message that I've got red smoke on target, but I doubt that I'm gonna see anything. So this mission has a version which is in more decent weather, so that's why I think there's smoke on some of the targets. So let's put the autopilot on, switch this to air to ground. I'm already like pretty much in range for the bombs. So if I check with this, yeah, we see the red smoke on the targets, we see the vehicles. That's what they look like, but we're not going to see it from here. So I'm about in the middle of the zone, so I'm just going to let them have it. Four bombs away. Could try to put the targeting pod on it, but yeah, can't see anything. So we're gonna get out of air to ground mode and we're gonna go to the next waypoint. And it looks like we're starting to destroy some vehicles. Yeah. And if we go look here, ooh, that's getting hit hard. Not much left here. So that part of the mission's done, so now we just gotta go fly back home. And now we're looking at another target. The one that we destroyed, I don't know where it is. So that means pretty much all the vehicles at the one that I had targeted earlier, probably all gone. So with wind-corrected munitions like the CBU-105, even in bad weather, if you don't see anything, if you just drop them on your waypoint, they'll know where to go. Since they contain intelligent submunitions, these will find anything that's made of metal and make nice holes through them. So now we get to enjoy our ride home.
Overlord 1-1, passing waypoint 1 at 27,000.
There's even a rainbow there. The little holes in the cloud cover with the rain below. You can see the mountains in the distance. And we're almost at our waypoint again, so I'm going to switch to the next waypoint, which is going to bring us on final for the runway. Only thing on the radar for now is the AWACS at Angels 27, as we can see right here. He's part of my Datalink, so that's why I have number 2 on him. He's also visible here. You see him on the radar, you see him on the HSI. Very good for situational awareness. Okay, so we've got a low-flying group of Russian planes. Is that what I see on the radar there? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna switch my heading. Let's see how we're doing with fuel. Okay. So they're flying low at Angels 2. I'm gonna switch to track while scan, and I'm gonna make my radar soy. See if I can get that targeted. Switch air to air, that might help. And get rid of the autopilot, so I have to get this back to track while scan. Got one of the targets pickled here. It's heading in that direction, so keeping them there. Alright, so we're getting close, so I'm gonna jettison my tanks. We're 10 miles. Fox 3 on first aircraft. Switching to the next target. Fox 3 onto him. I got the first one. Okay, I got the second one as well. So merged, but are there any others? I just saw two.
Overlord 1-1. Springfield 3-1. Request bogey dope. Springfield 3-1. Overlord 1-1. Clean.
Okay, looks clean. There's nothing on the HSI. Don't have anything on radar for now. Just gonna do a little sweep around. I think we're looking good. So our waypoint is in front of us there. It's over the water, so let's head for that position, which will bring us in for final and then landing. So let's get rid of the air-to-air so we don't have that sidewinder noise in our ears. And then when you're losing altitude like that through the clouds, that's the part where you gotta check your instruments. Now we're lucky we have a little break in the clouds so we can actually see the coast here and the water below, but the water is kinda hard to tell the distance when you've got a big cloud cover. You see now it's saying altitude. I'm at 4,000. Slow down a bit. And now we're through the rain again. And it's at 2,000 feet. I guess I can level off. And at 2 miles now. Let's reduce the range here. We'll switch to the last waypoint. Turn left. And as we do so, get the air brakes out. Start slowing down because we're 7 miles from the airfield. Try to get myself back on the flight plan. As you can see, I've veered a little bit to the right of the white line on my flight plan. And now we're below 300 at 250. I'm gonna get the gear down. Gotta keep an eye on my altitude. And now I can turn right. You can see the coastline. If I turn towards the runway, I don't quite see it yet. Looks like I'm lined up fairly well with it. So let's give this just a tad of power. Get our feet on the pedals. Focus on the HUD. Since this is Cobuletti, I could have punched in the numbers for the ILS. That might have been useful. But I can see the environment and I know the place pretty well. So I sort of know where I am. And you see I'm a little bit to the left of the runway, so I'm going to readjust. Bring it back.
Overlord 1-1. Passing waypoint 1 at 27,000.
Touchdown. So we're now below 70 knots. We can turn on the nose wheel steering. And just to be on the safe side, we'll go all the way to the end of the runway, because it would have been a bit tight to get in that taxiway there. Alright, so we're down safely. Have our cool looking plane here. Can get the air brakes in. Then we can turn to the taxiway. It's pretty heavy rain. Get all those big droplets in the window. It's fun to see, like on the bubble canopy, that the water droplets are going all around it. And when I was taking off, like as you accelerate, they move faster and the sound changes. It's really cool. Got a Canadian Hercules here parked there. On the flight line we can see some Canadian CF-18s and some F-16s from our squadron. So I'm gonna go park next to these trucks here, but just to do like everybody else, I'm gonna point the nose towards the runway. So I'll just do it like that. There's a soldier there guarding the trucks, I guess. Trying to judge distances, not to cut his head off. I think we're good. He seems to signal me that I can move along. So one of the ways I like to check if I'm lined up is I try to brake right when I get on the line. Went a bit past it, but as you can see, like the pilot is almost above the nose wheel. So even though I'm not perfectly lined up, I'm pretty close. So at that point I usually call the ground crew, tell them to, whoops, previous menu, wheel chucks, place.
Place the wheel chucks.
Oops, wrong button.
Copy.
And then I can set this. And that's usually when we can start the lazy shutdown. So as we shut down the airplane, you'll be able to watch it from the outside. So the engines are shutting down. We'll see the canopy open. That part is kind of cool too to watch when you're from the inside. You can see the little hooks. They get removed. then it moves up top, and then it's open. Technically we could get out, but I'm gonna wait for the ground crew to come back, so there, because it's raining. We don't want to put water all over these electronics, right? But yeah, so that I guess would be a fairly well completed mission. Let's go check our kill sheet. Let's put the kills on there. So we can see that the CBUs killed an Acacia, a truck, some infantry, some more Acacia, artillery vehicles, more infantry, and all that. And with my AMRAAMs, I was able to fire an AMRAAM at the first MiG-27. I guess these were ground attack planes that were coming towards our base. And once I saw that the first missile was probably Pitbull, I switched to the second plane and got him. And therefore, we have a nice successful mission there. So I hope you enjoyed watching it. It's kind of fun to fly. Makes it a little bit more stressful when you can't see where you're going, but we've got everything in those planes to actually have a good idea of what's going on in the world around us and where we need to go. I hope you enjoyed.